Hey, what's up, guys? It's Travis Britt with SocePrep.com. I got a really good question the other day on the YouTube comment section. Somebody was asking about they're doing practice tests and they're having a hard time like trying to orientate their study plan because their prep plan, they feel like they're chasing their tail, right? Because one question will be about what is this stretch? And they're like, a stretch, dude, I'm trying to be a cop. What are you talking about? The next one will be about Africanized honeybees. And they're like, dude, now I'm a zoologist. And then the next question is about, defensive tactics. They're like, okay, this sounds appropriate. And then the next question asks them to basically be an EMT and to tell the life-saving steps of this, that, and the other. And they're like, this test is all over the place. So where should I put my emphasis on this test? And it's hard to answer that question because all the questions on this test, the 200 random that you're going to get, are going to come out of these two books, right? So if it's in these two books, you could get a question about it, right? So the best way I answer that question, and I didn't want to come off as like a smart aleck, but the best way to deal with the anxiety of like what's going to show up on that test, in my humble opinion, is to think about it as a math problem, right? And I wanted to do a follow-up video because if they read, maybe they'll get the context and they might think that I was being a jerk about that, but I was not being a jerk about it. I was like, let's game this game out, right? They can ask us anything out of two books. Can they stump me? Absolutely, right? I teach this stuff and they can stump me, right? So with that being said, I need to have a strategy in place so that ease the anxiety, because the psychology of taking a test, if I start falling apart like a $2 watch and I let it get to me, it's going to affect the rest of my test, right? So we're one question at a time. So I figured out those up. This is on my paid subscription at soceprep.com. I've got 20 hours of direct instruction, but I'm going to give you guys a snippet of it. I wanted to give you this test taking strategy, the beans and bullets of the test. So we're talking about the SOCE. I think this individual is out of state and then they're policing out of state and they want to come to Florida, obviously for good reason. Because they were like, hey, I've got experience being a police officer. A lot of these questions are not what I do on a daily basis, and I get that, right? So whether you're in a basic recruit training program or you're out of state, you guys have to take the same test, and the test is it's an interesting one, right? So let's talk about it. The beans and bullets of this test, the logistics of this test is 200 questions, right? It's 200 questions. With that being said, let me get my little mouse back on. 10 of those questions are going to be field test questions, right? So what does that mean? You're really going to only be graded on 190 questions, but you have no idea what those 190 are going to be. So you have to take all 200 seriously because you're not going to know which ones are going to get thrown out. The field test questions give the authors an ability to see if a question is valid or not. If they kick a question out and 100% of the people who got it right, they're probably going to get rid of that and say, oh, it's too easy. If they kick a question out and 1 out of 10 get it right, they're probably like, that's a little too difficult. If everybody gets it wrong, then they're going to kick it out and be like, that's an invalid question. Something's wrong with it, right? So the field test questions, they're just testing for future tests. They're testing for future SOCEs questions. And so they put in their bank. So when you get your 200 random, they may or may not be in there. But 190 are scored, right? So what does that mean? I got to get what? An 80%. So 80% of 190. And as a while ago when I said, what should I study on? Well, emphasis on what? Math, right? Because if I get one of them wrong, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter, right? I only have to get 152 questions correct on this test to pass it and be done. Now, obviously, you need to know all this material. But, guys, we're just trying to get this SOCE knocked out for right now. You guys got field training ahead of you. You got time to catch up in the books before you hit the streets. And it's a lifelong journey, guys, the education and staying up to date as a police officer or deputy, law enforcement officer in the state of Florida, or anywhere for that matter. But my point being, if you get one of those weird questions and you get it wrong, use your test taking strategies, do the best you can do on it. After you picked it and sticked it, as I say, and you move on, do that. Move on and forget about it, right? Don't let these authors give you anxiety with these crazy questions, because they got a couple of them out there that are going to be weird. But if you only need 152, you can miss 38 questions. Right? If I can miss 38 questions and if I get a weird question, I'm going to do my best on it because I want to make that money if I can make it. If I can make the money, I'm going to make it, right? So narrow it down best you can. Educated guesses if we don't know, right? After we narrowed it down to 2 contenders, we're going to flip that coin every time. And we're going to do it with confidence. After we've done so, we're going to move on. We're not going to think about that question again because it's not relevant anymore. We want to focus on making money throughout the test, right? So 38 wrong still passes, guys. You can miss 1 out of every 5 that you see, right? And I don't say that you should do that, but if you start feeling funky on one of these practice tests or sitting down at the SOCE for the first time, hopefully it's going to be the last time too, because you're going to knock it out and pass it. SOCEprep.com. I can help you do that. But if you feel like you missed one, be like, oh, all right, it's all good. That was one of my 5. I'm good. I'm still going to pass this test. All right. Now we start talking about missing 2 out of 5. We're in trouble. Right. But if we get a section where we nail all 5 of them, then we put a little something in our savings account. Right. We can fail another one. Right. Or miss another one. So we're not going to fail anything, but we can miss a question here and there and not worry about it. So you got 3 hours to knock it out, guys. 200 questions. You don't know which 10 are going to be field test questions. You got to take every one with an individual approach. Yeah, you got 3 hours. You can miss 1 out of 5. You only need 152 to pass. It's like 54 seconds per question. It's not that bad when you look at it, because a lot of these are just a quick sentence and then asking you to go through your multiple choice A, B, C, D, and make the best choice that you can. And obviously, guys, if you guys have ever had any IEPs in school, if you've ever had any learning disabilities, if you ever had an extended time on test in school, if I were you, I'd write to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Detention Examination Section ADA Coordinator at Post Office Box 1489 in Tallahassee, Florida, 32302. Obviously, you need to look up on the Google box and figure out what you need to do to get your accommodations. But there's an opportunity for you to get extended time. And time is very valuable in this test, all right, because it's essentially a reading test. They're asking you to read questions and make a decision. How well you read is going to be how well you do on this test. I mean, obviously, you have to have the knowledge, training, and experience, but you can have the knowledge, training, and experience, not know how to read very well, and fail this test, right? So that's another thing. We're talking about focus on your math and your probabilities like we did on the test taking strategy. You got to get 152 right, but I want you guys to also start reading things that are boring every night, all right? Pick something up and read it. Force yourself to understand it. Look for context clues, which mean, if I don't really know what this sentence means, I'm going to try to make sense of it with every third word, so on and so forth. So reading, probabilities, managing your anxiety, and getting your reps in, player. If you don't get your reps in on this test, you're going to have a bad day, right? So get your reps in, hit your practice test. Make sure you got these 2 books. If you hadn't bought these 2 books yet, I think they just updated them. They're about to update them very soon. All right. Get these books. They don't change a whole lot from year in, year in, but they every once in a while they add a little something or take a little something out, and just knock a little bit out every night. Do you 10 pages every night for 6 months while you're prepping for your SOCE. And that adds up, guys. Right. So the key is, guys, we want to be consistently good, not occasionally great in our prep plan. So consistently good, not occasionally great. What does that mean? Right. That means that, like, I don't wait once every 3 months to have a hell of a study session. I'd rather have a 10-minute study session that was intentional every single day for 6 months. Right. So be consistently good. Don't worry about be occasionally great. I'll take consistently good every day over occasionally great, because I can measure it. All right. So with that being said, guys, you got any questions about this SOCE, hit me up in the comments if I can help you out. SOCEprep.com. I got paid study plans. I got free resources. Got a 17-page free guided notes that I give away for free. I've got an encounter sheet that I give away free where you're supposed to watch cops and tell me what's going on. Is this a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, so on and so forth. And if you buy one of my subscription plans, you got 20 hours of PowerPoints, just like the one we just did. Over at my website, SOCEprep.com, Travis Britt. Guys, please like, comment, subscribe, give me some communication, like the beautiful question that I got from the gentleman about how he should focus his attention as far as studying for this test. Hopefully that was helpful. If not, hit me up. We'll come back and hit it again if you got any further questions, guys. SOCEprep.com, Travis Britt. Thank you, guys. Out.